Hi, it's me, Thisa Farras. So, in this video, we're gonna learn about syntax. So, the first question, what is syntax? In linguistics, syntax refers to the rules that govern the way which words come in from phrases, clauses, and sentences. The term syntax comes from Greek, meaning arranged together. The term is also used to mean the study of syntactic properties of language. In computer context, the terms refer to preparing order, symbols, and codes so the computer can understand what instructions are telling it to do. Syntax is the proper order of words in a phrase or sentence. Syntax is a tool used in writing proper grammatical sentence. A native speaker of language learns correct syntax without realizing it. The complexity of writers or speakers' sentence creates a formal or informal level of diction that presented to its audience. For native speakers, using correct syntax is something comes naturally, as word others learn as soon as infants start observing the language. Native speaker can tell something isn't quite right because it sounds weird. Even if they can't detail the exact grammar rules, it makes something sound off to the ear. Now we're going to talk about the syntactic rules. English part of the speech often follow the ordering patterns in sentences and clauses, such as compound sentences are joined by conjunctions like and, but, or that multiple adjectives modifying the same noun follow a particular ordering according to their class, such as number, size, color, as in 6 small green chairs. The rules how to other words helps the language part make sense. Sentences often start with a subject followed by a predicate, or just verb in a simple sentence, and contains an object or a complement, or both, which shows, for example, what's being at a pound. Take the sentence, Beth slowly ran the race in wild, multicolored flip-flops. The sentence follows a subject, verb, object, and pattern. Beth ran the race. Adverbs and adjectives takes their place in front of what they are modifying. Slowly ran, wild, multicolored flip-flops. The object the race follows the verb ran, and prepositional praise in wild multicolored flip-flops starts with preposition in. Types of sentences and their syntax modes include the simple sentences, compound sentences, complex sentences, and compound complex sentences. Compound sentences are two simple sentences joined by conjunction. Complex sentences have dependent clauses, and complex compound sentences have both types included. Now we have types of sentence structures. Simple sentence, subject, verb structure. For example, like the girl ran. Compound sentence, subject, verb, object, conjunction, subject, and verb structure. For example, the girl ran the marathon and her cousin did it too. Complex sentence, dependent clause, subject, verb, object structure. For example, although they were tired after the marathon, the cousins decided to go to celebration at the park. And the last, we have compound complex sentence. 4 clauses, dependent and independent structures. For example, although they weren't fond of the crowds, they was different. They decided because the common goals that had brought everyone together. The next point is syntax variation and distinctions. Syntax has changed some over the development of English through the centuries. The proverb, whatever loved that loved not at first sight, indicates that English negative could want be replaced after main verbs. And not all people speak English in the exactly same way. Social dialect learned by people with a common background such as A social class, profession, age group, or ethnic group also may influence the speaker's syntax. Think the differences between the teenager slang and more fluid word other the grammar versus research scientists' technical vocabulary and manner of speaking to each other. Social dialect are also called social varieties. Following proper syntax doesn't guarantee that a sentence will have the meaning true. The linguist Noam Chomsky created the sentence "colorless green ideas sleep variously," which is syntactically and grammatically correct because it has words in the correct order and verbs that agree with the subject. But it's still nonsense. With it, Chomsky showed that the rules governing syntax are distinct from the meanings that the words convey. Now we'll talk about beyond syntax. The distinction between grammar and syntax has been somewhat disturbed by recent research in lexical grammar, which takes the words into account in grammar rules. For example, some verbs, transitive ones, and perform in action or something, always take a direct object, a transitive action. So here is verbs examples. She removed the index card from the old recipe box. In this sentence, the verb is removed and the object is index card. Another examples include its transitive phrasal verb. The next example, please look over my report before I turn it in. Look over is the phrasal verb and report is the reject object. To be complete true, you need to include what's being looked over. Thus, it has to have a direct object. So here we are in the last part. It's time to take the conclusion of this topic. So, syntax study the organization of words into the phrases and the phrases into the sentences. There are patterns and regularities that can be discovered in the large unit constructions and its constituents. If syntax considers language from the structural perspective, with a relatively little concern for meaning, semantics shows the great concern on meaning. According to Roman Jacobson, language without meaning is meaningless. Since meaning is a part of language, semantics is a part of linguistics. So syntax and semantics are interrelated with each other. It's hard to decipher the meaning if the utterance or of the language spoken are not well organized, unless you'll work more on sign language for you to be understood, or you'll have your dictionary and you to understand verbatim, which is more difficult, and you might not get the exact meaning in reading where the comprehension is very significant. So that's all my explanation about syntax. Hope you enjoyed this video and thanks for watching.